All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're digging into a really interesting article by an educator named Robert Martinez. He's asking a big question. Could something like Google's AI Studio actually be a secret weapon for language teachers? Well, we're going to find out.
So we have to start with this quote because, wow, does it hit home. If you've ever tried to learn a new language, you know that feeling, right? That little bit of panic when someone starts speaking at full speed. As Martinez points out, it's a huge struggle for learners, and it's also one of the absolute toughest skills to teach. So what's the deal? Why is it so hard?
And that brings us right to our first section, the listening challenge. Before we even talk about how AI could possibly help, we really need to get a handle on the problem it's trying to solve. You know, listening is so much more than just hearing sounds. It is this incredible mental juggling act. In a fraction of a second, your brain is trying to process what's being said, pull up all the vocabulary it knows, apply grammar rules, and figure out the social context, all at the same time. That massive cognitive load is exactly the problem that teachers are up against.
Okay, so keeping that challenge in mind, could technology lend a hand? In Section 2, we're going to look at Google AI Studio, not as a magic bullet, but as a potential design assistant for teachers.
Let's be really clear about what we're talking about here. Google AI Studio is not some new language learning app for your phone. Think of it more like a creative sandbox for teachers. They can go in and generate all sorts of text, dialogues, stories, you name it. And then, using other tools, they can turn that text into audio for their classroom listening exercises. And this is a huge point that Martinez makes in his article. This is a tool for the teacher, behind the scenes, not for the student. It's meant for crafting materials, and it absolutely requires a teacher's professional judgment to make sure the AI's output is actually useful. That human oversight, it is everything. And you know, any good tool has to fit into a method that actually works. This three-stage framework, pre, while, and post-listening, is pretty much the gold standard in language teaching. The idea isn't for AI to replace the structure, but to support it by helping teachers create way better materials for every single stage. Okay, now for the fun part. Let's see how this all comes together to create what Robert Martinez calls classroom superpowers. In our third section, we're going to break down the key benefits he discovered when he started using this tool.
He basically boils it all down to these three big wins: customization, differentiation, and just plain old teacher efficiency. So let's quickly unpack what each of these really means for a teacher on the ground.
First up, customization. This is so cool. Instead of some generic, boring audio from a textbook, a teacher can instantly whip up a dialogue about, say, a recent school field trip, or even use the students' own names. Martinez says his students absolutely love this, because it makes the lesson instantly relevant to their world. Next up, differentiation. We all know that every single classroom has students at different levels, right? Well, with just a simple prompt, a teacher can create 3 different versions of the same script: a basic one, one for the middle, and a more advanced one. This is a total game changer for making sure every single student feels included and challenged appropriately. And finally, efficiency. Let's be real. Teachers are some of the busiest people on the planet. By letting an AI handle the grunt work of drafting a script, they get back so much precious time. And that's time they can then pour back into the things that really move the needle, like designing great classroom activities and giving students one-on-one feedback. But of course, it can't all be perfect. A responsible look at any new tech means we have to talk about the downsides and the risks. So Section 4 is all about the important words of caution. And wow, this slide really says it all. The biggest issue here is authenticity. Real human speech is, well, it's messy. We pause, we say and we start a sentence and then correct ourselves. AI-generated speech is often unnaturally perfect. And while that sounds good, it doesn't actually prepare students for how people talk in the real world. And beyond that, AI can really struggle with the natural music of a language. You know, the stress, the rhythm, the intonation. The article also brings up some really valid ethical questions about data privacy. So just like the OECD advises, the bottom line is the human teacher has to be in control. Always. So where does all of this leave us? Well, our final section brings it all home with a simple but powerful verdict. Teacher-led, AI-supported. And honestly, this quote from Martinez just nails it. This is the key takeaway. The real power of this AI isn't to replace the teacher, it's to act as a powerful assistant. It's a tool, just like a textbook or a whiteboard, and it's only as good as the professional, human judgment that's guiding it. Now, if this has got you thinking and you want to see more real-world examples of how to use these tools responsibly, you have got to check out the author's own YouTube channel. It's Robert Martinez at Learning Together with Robert. Seriously, go check it out. It's fantastic stuff. Maybe even give him a like and subscribe while you're there. And that really leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? Is AI a powerful assistant, or is it a pedagogical shortcut? When it's used thoughtfully with a teacher in the driver's seat, it can be an amazing assistant. But without that critical, human-led approach, it risks becoming a shortcut that doesn't really help our students in the long run. The choice, as always, is up to the teacher. Thanks for tuning in.